Welcome. In this explainer, we're about to dive into this one really profound idea from ancient philosophy, and honestly, it might just be the key to understanding all those invisible forces that seem to shape your moods and even your actions day to day. You know that feeling, right? One day, you are just on fire, super productive, super ambitious. And the next, you can barely drag yourself out of bed. It's like you're two completely different people. It feels like this constant tug of war going on inside your head. Well, what if I told you that's not just a feeling? What if it's actually real? Yeah, according to the Bhagavad Gita, one of the world's oldest spiritual texts, you're literally being pulled by three invisible ropes. These are called the gunas, and you can think of them just like that. Ropes that are constantly tying our consciousness to the world, pulling us in different directions, and pretty much dictating our thoughts, our moods, our actions, the whole shebang. So, here's how we're gonna break this all down. First, we'll look at what these ropes actually are. Then, we'll get to know the three modes one by one. After that, we'll see how they play out in your life today. We've got a great analogy about fire and smoke to help it all click. And then finally, the big one, how to actually rise above all this. All right, let's get into it. The ropes that bind us. Now, obviously, we're not talking about literal ropes. These are more like three fundamental energies, or modes of nature itself. And believe me, they are always at play, influencing just about everything. I mean, from the food you crave to the career path you choose. And this is where the name comes from. The Sanskrit word guna literally means quality or rope. It's such a perfect metaphor, right? Because these qualities, these energies, they bind us. They condition how we experience the world. So even when you feel like you're making a totally free choice, chances are one of these ropes is subtly pulling the strings in the background. Okay, so it's time to meet the three main players in this internal drama of yours. Their names are Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. And you can think of them as having their own distinct personalities, each with a totally different way of influencing your behavior. This table here is a great little cheat sheet. You've got Sattva, that's all about goodness, clarity. Then there's Rajas, think passion, action, drive. And finally, Tamas, which is ignorance and just inertia. And as you can see, their motivations and the outcomes they lead to are worlds apart. Let's start with Sattva. This is the mode of goodness. You know the state. It's when you feel clear-headed, peaceful, just content. When Sattva is high, you're motivated by learning, by knowledge, by creating harmony. But here's the catch, and this is super important. It's still a rope. It's the golden rope, but it can bind you with this sense of happiness and satisfaction. You get so comfortable that you stop striving for what's next. So think of it as a crucial stepping stone, but not the final goal. All right, next up is Rajas, the mode of passion. This is pure energy. It's ambition, desire, constant action. It's that little voice in your head that's always asking, okay, but what's in it for me? Rajas is what fuels our drive to get ahead, to compete, to win, to get more stuff. But it's born from this endless pit of craving, right? And it binds you to that hamster wheel of work, reward, which, as we all know, usually just leads to more stress and feeling like it's never enough. And last, we have Tamas, the mode of ignorance. This is that heavy energy. It's inertia, laziness, confusion. When Tamas takes over, you just feel stuck, unmotivated, your judgment gets all foggy. The original texts actually describe it as being in a free fall, where you've just completely lost your sense of direction and purpose. It's a tough spot to be in. Okay, so here's the most important piece of the puzzle. You are never 100% just one of these. It's not like you're a Sattva person or a Rajas person. Instead, these three forces are in a constant battle for control inside you. One day, Sattva wins and you feel amazing, clear, focused. The next, Rajas elbows its way to the front and you're just consumed by your to-do list and your ambitions. It's this constant dance, this competition, that explains why our inner world is always changing. All right, so that's the theory. Cool concept, but how does this ancient idea actually show up in, real life, our 21st century lives? Let's get super practical and take a look at how these modes pop up in a place we all spend a ton of time, the workplace. Okay, check this out. This scenario nails it. Imagine your boss just gave you a bunch of feedback on a big project you've been working on. Now, the Sattvic part of you thinks, awesome, thank you for the feedback. This is a great chance to learn and make this even better for the whole team. The Rajasic part of you immediately panics. Oh no, how does this affect my promotion? I worked harder than everyone. I need to prove I'm right. And then there's the Tamasic voice. This is way too much work. It's probably fine. I'm just going to ignore this and hope no one notices. Do any of those voices sound familiar? I bet they do. Let's be real. The modern office is practically a breeding ground for Rajas, for that mode of passion. I mean, think about the classic triggers. You've got that out-of-control ambition, the I gotta be CEO in 5 years mindset. You've got workaholism, where we wear working 16-hour days like a badge of honor. And of course, the big one, that constant what's in it for me filter on every single task. It's all Rajas all the time. So this might sound a little bleak, right? If these ropes are always pulling at us, how do we ever get free? Well, to answer that, we have to bring in one more key idea, the concept of Maya, which basically means illusion. And the ancient texts give us this absolutely brilliant analogy with fire and smoke to help us get it. Okay, let's walk through this. Picture a giant roaring fire. That fire represents pure ultimate consciousness, the source of everything. Now, each of us, as individuals, we're like tiny little sparks that fly out from that big fire. So we're part of it, right? But here's the twist. The three gunas, our three ropes, they get together and create this thick, billowing smoke. That smoke is Maya, the illusion. And here's the most important part of the whole thing. That smoke can easily smother one tiny little spark, us, but it has absolutely no power to cover the main fire. And that right there, that is the punchline. When we, the tiny spark, drift far away from our source, the smoke of the gunas can just totally block our light. We get lost in it. But think about it. What happens when that spark turns around and flies back toward the main fire? The heat, the light, it just burns all that smoke away. The lesson is simple but so powerful. The closer we get to our true self, to our source, the less and less power these modes have over us. The smoke just dissipates. So that brings us to the big finale, and really the most important part of this whole discussion. Look, knowing about these ropes is great. It's step one. But learning how to untie them, that's the real work. And the path forward, according to this philosophy, is to consciously, deliberately cultivate Sattva, that mode of goodness. But remember, not as the final destination. Think of it more like a runway you build to take off into true freedom. And what does that freedom look like? Well, the Gita paints a pretty cool picture. It says someone who has transcended the modes is steady. They're not rocked by all the ups and downs of life. They can look at happiness and distress or praise and blame with the same calm perspective. Why? Because they're anchored in something much deeper than the constantly shifting tides of the gunas. So where do we even begin? It starts with small, conscious, sattvic choices. Here's a super simple morning routine you could try. First, mindful input. Instead of grabbing your phone and scrolling through sensational, stressful news, maybe read a few pages of something that actually elevates your thinking. Second, quiet reflection. Just a few minutes of meditation or just sitting quietly can do wonders to calm down all that restless rajasic energy. And third, pure nourishment. Choose something fresh and simple for breakfast. The idea here is that everything we take in through our senses, what the texts call our 9 gates, matters. It's all food for the gunas. And let me just say this one more time because it's so important. The goal isn't just to get cozy and stay in the mode of goodness forever. You don't want to be tied up even by a golden rope. The goal is to use the clarity and the stability that Sattva gives you as a launching pad, a platform to jump beyond all 3 ropes, and finally experience what it's like to be truly and unconditionally free. So I'm going to leave you with a final thought to chew on. When you close this screen, what's your very next choice going to be? That next thought that pops into your head, the next thing you decide to do. Which rope is going to be doing the pulling? The cool thing is, now that you know they're there, you have a say in the matter. The choice is yours.